When a massive 7.4 magnitude earthquake strikes a region like Mexico, normal life is severed in seconds. The ground violently tears along fault lines with zero warning, catching millions completely off guard. This diagram shows exactly why this event is so destructive. The data points to an epicenter just 10 kilometers below the surface. In geological terms, that is an incredibly shallow rupture. It means the massive amount of seismic energy released has almost no physical distance to dissipate before slamming into the surface crust. Authorities instantly know a massive seismic event has occurred, but those initial moments are defined by a terrifying information vacuum. Power grids trip, communication networks fail, and command centers are left waiting for localized casualty or structural damage reports that simply aren't there yet. Anyone living in an active tectonic zone understands that the initial ground shaking marks the start of a prolonged, multi-stage sequence. This map shows how quickly the danger footprint scales up. The actual epicenter is in Mexico, but those seismic waves are expanding outward, instantly triggering high alert protocols across the international borders of multiple neighboring sovereign nations. Surviving the massive regional shock is only step one. The initial rupture starts an invisible, rapidly ticking clock for a cascade of secondary disasters. Back at ground zero, the earthquake leaves the urban environment a dense grid of hazards. When you look at a multi-story building with its front facade sheared clean off, you instantly grasp the sheer scale of localized structural failure. And the physics of the Earth's crust dictate that this destruction will likely compound. As the massively displaced tectonic plates aggressively grind and settle back into their original positions, they will generate severe aftershocks over the coming hours. This is exactly why emergency mandates strictly instruct everyone to stay far away from damaged buildings. A structure might have barely survived the primary quake, but its masonry is so deeply compromised that a moderate aftershock can instantly collapse it into a fatal pile of loose bricks and splintered beams. Below the shattered masonry lies a hidden threat. Extreme lateral ground movement stretches and snaps highly pressurized gas lines threaded beneath the city streets. That raw fuel quickly pools in basements and shattered utility corridors. It is why the earliest broadcasts plead with residents to avoid generating any open flames, as a single spark can ignite a secondary urban firestorm. To survive the urban theater of a major earthquake, you must navigate a booby-trapped landscape where the built environment is weaponized against you. While the inland cities deal with collapsing infrastructure, a completely different secondary mechanism begins unfolding along the Pacific coast. When the shallow seabed thrusts upward, it shoves a massive vertical column of water towards the surface. Gravity forces that bulge to collapse, translating into a fast-moving horizontal wave. This displacement wave ignores geography, triggering urgent transnational tsunami watches for neighboring El Salvador and Guatemala. For the people living anywhere near those coastlines, the mandate is clear and immediate. Local authorities instruct all residents to completely abandon the beaches and head for high ground. A 7.4 magnitude earthquake radiates its geological force across the sea, creating an unyielding oceanic assault on neighboring nations. This aerial view shows the intense reality of a sprawling, densely packed urban environment. Trying to execute simultaneous mass evacuations across both city centers and highly populated coastal zones presents an absolute logistical nightmare for administrators, and there is a harsh friction built right into these emergency mandates. Civilians are told to rapidly flee collapsing masonry, while simultaneously trying to navigate choked roads to move inland. On the streets, that translates into pure chaos. Civilians are forced to physically assist each other, frantically scrambling to get clear of danger while the ground beneath them remains entirely unreliable. Meanwhile, highly specialized search and rescue teams have to immediately deploy straight into the most precarious, fully collapsed zones. They crawl through layers of pancaked concrete to locate survivors, fully aware that an aftershock could trigger a secondary collapse at any second. This entire massive response operates inside a highly volatile, active emergency. Information continues to trickle in, and the absolute scope of the casualties and total infrastructure loss remains obscured. Surviving a magnitude 7.4 event demands the constant navigation of a geographically expanding, multi-hazard matrix.